Happy Monday. I'm going to train legs. Actually going to train glutes. And I don't often train glutes. Like, kind of a random day to train as a bloke. But I think that being said, because I think it's random and I don't train glutes, I've ended up with no glutes. Or at least I have them, but nothing special. I want a big juicy ass. And yes, for the aesthetic reasons, but also because strong glutes is a strong core, strong foundation. When you have a strong foundation, there's nothing really you can't do in the gym. Bigger squat, bigger deadlift, bigger bench, bigger anything. You just get stronger. So I'm going to build some nice, strong, healthy glutes. This sort of stemmed from a podcast with Huberman I listened to, and the Glute Guy. Can't remember what his name is, forgive me. But it really opened my eyes into glute training and how important it is to train your glutes often and consistently and hard and program them. You can just tell from a physique when you've got strong, balanced glutes that it carries over into your leg strength and your upper body strength. It just ties everything in. So we're going to go train glutes. I've never programmed a glute day before in my life. I have to be honest. I've trained glutes before, but not with the intention of going in there to train glutes. But to be honest, this is just going to be a leg day, but a glute focused leg day. So I came up with a bit of a program structure last week after listening to this podcast, based on my weaknesses, which is legs. Legs are my weakness, always have been. Hopefully I'm never going to say they always will be, but we're going to try and train my legs 3 times a week. It seems like a bit overkill, but if you listen to the podcast I'll try and put a link to it somewhere. If I can do that, that'd be pretty sick. He has his clients training glutes 3 times a week. And because the evidence is out, the research shows that 3 times a week is probably optimal. 2 times a week, I think he says, is the best, but 3 times can't hurt, so long as you're not overtraining and you program it effectively. Because a lot of glute training comes from axial loading, which is squats, squat pattern, hip extension it's called. So hack squats, leg press, lunges, step ups, all that sort of jazz. Anything where you're like squatting or a lunge type movement. So a lot of glute training comes from that. But if you're doing that 3 times a week, because there's so much load, then you will get into the overtraining type territory. So you have to mix it up with what he calls the different vectors of glute training, which is basically describing the 3 different movement patterns of glute training, which is axial loading. See if I can remember this. Like back to front. I don't know, like, I just can't remember what he called that. Anyway, it's basically like hip thrusts and hyperextensions, because your hips are going forward and back, whereas a squat, they're going up and down. So it's axial loading. And then the third is lateral movements, where your glutes are going outwards. So like the adductor machine, and you'd be doing hip abduction or hip adduction. But hip abduction, ABD, abduction, is where you're pushing the pads outwards. So that's where you're training the glutes. And you can do that with other movements as well on the floor and whatnot. So those are your 3 vectors. And when you've stimulated enough of that axial loading, he says to do the principle of thirds, so a third axial and a third in the other 2 categories. Forgive me for not remembering the nomenclature, but that would be a solid way to train glutes across the whole spectrum. So you don't overtrain and you hit all of the glute heads. Actually looks very young to be driving. So anyway, that was a bit of a 4-minute and 42-second ramble. I will say that today I'm going to focus on hip thrusts. Which is said to be a movement where you can load up the glutes quite substantially and target the glutes quite substantially, quite directly, and recover from quite easily. It doesn't take a lot of recovery to recover from hip thrust. So they're a good movement pattern to have in twice a week. So we'll do one axial loading movement. We'll do a hip thrust, and then I might get on the abductor machine, I should say, and have a bit of a whirl and calves. So it'll be 4 movements. So been for a 5K run, and to warm up, get a bit of sweat on, and then I'm going to go in calves first, as always, get the glutes kicking, and call it a day. I'll see you in there. Let's train some fucking glutes. I will train calves first because they are the weakest point on my body. As you can see, they skinny. I'm not about it. No, I've lived these suckers for too long. So we're gonna do some calf raises first. Standing calf raises seem to be the best. Try and do 3 or 4 sets. We'll go nice and heavy for 2 sets, and then maybe drop back down. The aim is to go past failure on these. So once I hit failure and I can't go up all the way, I'll just do partial reps until my calves are fried. And then when I can't move anymore, that'll be my set. But it's pretty fatiguing, it's pretty exhausting, so it can be hard doing this before an actual leg day. But we'll just play it by ear. Maybe I'll do 3 sets, maybe I'll do 4. Do a little warm-up set first and then get into it. Sweet, so I always start my calf days off with a set of 21s. Just to warm up my calves. Not trying to build muscle or anything on that warm up set, but 7 bottom half, 7 top half, 7 full reps, 21 reps. Calves are pretty warm after that, so now I'll get into it. I'm actually nervous, this fucking hurts so much. So we're on 77 kilos right here. Okay. Alright, set number 2. Let's get 10 reps if we can, and then hit the partials after that. Set number 3. I'm actually going to do that weight again. Yikes. Alright, time for glutes. Now we're going into the naughty corner. Do a few warm-up sets on this first. Maybe just 1 warm-up set. It's probably all we need. If I can get into this fucking contraption. Ooh, that hurts. Lazy boy. Damn, that hurts. Not used to glute training. Let's go up anyway. Set number 3. Want 10 clean reps. 10. Alright, let's do some reverse lunges. I don't know whether I'm going to do these on my neck, as in the back of my neck, or the front yet. But we'll see how it unfolds. Alright, the last warm-up set. Set number 1. One more. Come on. Oh. That was fucking hard. No one told me that was going to be that difficult. I don't think I'm going to go any heavier. That did its job. I'm actually still hurting from that set. It's like 2 minutes later. I can feel my glutes twitching while I'm just hanging out. So I'll do 2 more sets of that. Maybe even just 1. And then go to hip thrusts. And that'll be glute workout done. This is doing its job. I should have warmed up my hamstrings before I did this. They were kind of cold, so these are smashing my hammies and they're like cramping up a bit. Anyway. Three. 4. 5. 6. 7. 7. 8. 8. 9. Wow. All right. They're deadly. And they need a bit of work. I'm going to call it. We'll do more next week. Alright, we're going to go do some hip thrusts. Like the man I am. I've actually never done these before, so kind of glad the gym's empty. Because I've never set this up. I look like a bit of a fucking loser. Slash newbie. Well, I could look good. Actually don't know. Maybe I do look good. We're about to find out. Here we go. This needs to go back. Oh, you're kidding. That's not going to work, is it? Okay. Fail. Fail. Holy shit, that hurts. Okay. I got 4. Should we try again? Wow. Well, that's pretty hard. Got a lot of work to do here. I'm assuming 60 kilos is not a lot of weight. Right, let's go again. Girls, how do you do this? You ever done these before? Hip thrusts. They're hard. Like, really hard. I can barely do it. Man, I'm a weakling. Oh well, big glutes. Road to big glutes, like, starts with this. Last set, and I'm out of here. Get off me. I feel like Russell Brand in Forgetting Sarah Marshall. If you know, you know. That's a good scene. Oh well, this is training for that. 60 kilos though. Gotta be light to qualify. I'm done. No more of this. Glutes done. Calves, abductors, reverse lunges, that's our axial load. Hip thrust, that's our vertical load. Abductors, that was our lateral load. So we've hit all 3 vectors and some carbs. We're growing, we're getting somewhere. That's all that matters. All right, let's have a little flex. See what the pump's looking like. It's not really a quad pump, really. Even though they're still small and skinny. God damn. God damn, they are small and skinny. I'd love to blame the lighting. I don't think I can. Well, today was the day I found out I've shit glutes. Sort of knew that anyway, but that really just put the nail in the coffin. But it's good. I need a little starting point because, like, you don't just train glutes once and they get massive. And not a lot of people just have strong glutes naturally. Some people do, but not this guy. So that's good. That's my starting point. It was nice to know that I can't hip thrust for shit. Although I would have thought I could do more than 60 kilos. I've been in situations before where I've definitely lifted more than 60 kilos, if you know what I mean. Oh, probably not. Actually, probably not now that I think about it. Maybe close to 70 max. But anyway, that is a conversation for another day and another channel. Anyway, maybe OnlyFans. Should I start at OnlyFans? Nah, fuck that noise, bro. I'm not a loser. Good quid I hear though. Anyway, so glutes, that was it. I think this is going to be interesting for you to follow me along and see how big my glutes can get and my calves, because at the moment they are, well, you saw them. So, but they're there, which is a massive win. I mean, if I didn't have glutes or calves, I mean, I don't really know how I'd get around. So, got to be thankful for that. Gotta be grateful for what you have. Otherwise, you'll just be bitter and resentful. And besides, I can train them and work on them, so that's a blessing in itself. And I had Monty there with me the whole time. And he's got a good set of glutes, so that's a bit of motivation. Anyway, that was it. Hip thrust for the first time. I mean, I've done hip thrust before. I shouldn't say it's the first time. I used to train at like a CrossFit-y sort of group fitness style gym. Hip thrust every now and then, but I tend to not make it on that day, so I never really did a lot of them. Anyway, 60 kilos. That's what I'm working with right now. And they got easier the more I did them. I think the third set was easier than the first. Just my hammies were cramping up, and I get real bad hammy cramps. And from the reverse lunges, they just started cramping up. So they weren't doing too well on the hip thrust. But by the time I did 3 sets, I was like, oh yeah, these actually feel pretty good. And I can feel my glutes screaming for mercy right now. So I've obviously done something right. So I'm gonna have a steak sandwich for dinner. And that's gonna make me, that's gonna give me some gains, I would imagine. And what we do before that, the reverse lunges, they were fun. And they were fun because I just generally like axial load movements. So everything on that vertical plane, I love squatting, just feels good. But I've got such long legs, so it takes a while for my legs to pack on muscle. My legs have definitely been bigger than what they are now, but anyway. We're working towards something. Hopefully my muscle memory kicks in soon, and bada bing, bada boom, I'll have some big quads, or at least bigger than what they are now. Left here. So we're working with 60 kilos there. I've definitely gone heavier than that before, but that just felt good at the time. I didn't really want to push it too much heavier than that. Get a lot of pressure in my knees once I go too heavy on that. So I'll build up to it. We'll get to 80 soon, then 100, then 120. And if you've ever seen Richard Duchon, I think that's his name, he does reverse lunges with like 160 kilos. He's a fucking animal. So that's the goal. We're trying to get legs like his. Got a lot of work to do, but we'll get there. Probably have to do some steroids to look like that. Maybe, maybe not. And what did we do before that? Abductors, they're awesome. They felt really good. Great way to warm up the glutes. And yeah, I can go relatively heavy on that. And then by the time you do the reverse lunges, after doing the abductors, your glutes are just like ready to go. You got blood in there. But I will say next time I do the reverse lunges, before it, I'll do some hammies and just get some blood in the hamstrings. That's probably the one area that was a bit cold and I felt it. So, because I did a few walking lunges sets in between my abductors, which warmed up my knees, my quads, my glutes a bit more, but the hammies just weren't warm. So yeah, I started to get that twitch of like a cramp coming through around the first set. So anyway, I didn't really do too much intense work there. No drop sets, no supersets, just straight sets, which was good. It's what I needed. I went for a 5K run before, so I was pretty toasted. And it's hot as motherfucker right now, muggy as, 30 degrees. And what did we do before that? Calves. So calves is one of my fucking pain points. They're, like my legs are just so, the tibia, I think that's the bone there. My tibia is just so long. They're so long. And my calf attachments, as you can see, my calves, they come like halfway down my leg. So I have really long calves. So it takes a long time to build muscle there. And it's taken me so long to actually feel them working. It's been a bit of a battle. So anyway, I feel like I'm in a good place with them now with the training. I just need to stay consistent with it. So that's the goal, train calves 3 times a week, see if we can put some size on them. I just need to eat in a calorie surplus, which is probably the other hard thing. And bada bing, bada boom, calves will get bigger. So that's the game plan. Anyway, that was my workout. Finished strong, feel good. My glutes feel like they worked. And tomorrow I get to train upper body. So thank fuck for that. Anyway, pretty much all I have to say right now. I'm gonna go buy some ingredients for a steak sandwich and make another TikTok video of me cooking a steak sandwich for my family. I'm gonna post it on my TikTok, at Dr. Cuz. Go check me out on TikTok. You'll love it. If you wanna learn how to cook without the bullshit, then like, go check it out. There's a bit of bullshit on there actually, I shouldn't say without the bullshit. There's heaps of bullshit on there. Me rambling basically for like 10 minutes. Anyway, go enjoy. If you like it, watch it. If you don't, just don't watch it. Or comment it, like some other people just feel like they need to comment on it. So whatever it's doing, it's boosting my fucking engagement, so get amongst it. All right, I'm going. Goodbye.